within the human entity lies a sleeping giant, a primal force waiting to be unleashed into the cosmos, the truest, deepest expression of who and what you really are, the reality of your being. Our very ideologies concerning medical practices, our very medical symbols are based upon this ancient tradition known only to us as the Kundalini or the serpent fire. Some of our greatest minds have worked out schematics for the human entity based upon the properties of this system. Once activated, it reaches up the spinal column, activating the primary engines in the core of the system. Wrapping up the nadi through the atma, the Kundalini reaches toward the crown into the heavens. The Ida and Pingala serpents, fire and ice, wrap around the spine, reaching up through the body into the brain. It lights up and activates what we think of as being three primary brains, what lie dormant beforehand. Once activated, it becomes a primal, vital, and seemingly essential property. Hola all, welcome back to Soul Mechanics. Please step into my office and have a seat. This one is a very special episode given our overtly dramatic introduction. You should know well enough that we are in fact finally getting around to speaking directly to the Kundalini impulse. Now this will be the launching of our impulse cultivation training course, giving exercises and insights as to how precisely to activate this vital impulse yourself and how to maintain it in the case that it does in fact activate spontaneously, which we expect to occur. We're seeing occur all over the place now. This resonance effect is in fact taking hold. Like I said, stacking up like dominoes, it's going to hit everybody, most especially Reds. And we did in fact happen to just incidentally, via synchronicity, run into very special someone, a very, very special someone, a new student, a new initiate with the initiative. I'm not sure if she would want me to, well, she's going to be doing interviews for this, so her name's Tammy. She's awesome. We found her thanks to Candace and her group, the Universal Readers of the Universe, or is that what it's called? Readers of the Universe, something Readers of the Universe. It's an awesome group. It's for divinations experts mainly. Sorry, I'm all itchy. It's hot, sweating cat hair. But she's exceptional, this Tammy, and she's going to be working with us directly. She's going to be giving us reports, exercise for exercise, doing interviews, reporting on how this works out step by step. We're going to take her through the process so that she can help you guys to understand how this works and make use of it. And it might be difficult for you guys to some extent. It's not going to be as difficult for her. You could say that this student, this is going to be speaking to the utilization of the phantom body or the perpetual self as opposed to the ephemeral self, and the fusion of the two, the resonance effect that transpires between the two, and the fusion, the infusion of that emotional body into the material self, I suppose you could say. Everything is material. Again, everything is physical. It's very inadequate, I suppose you could say, to try and utilize this terminology in these respects, but we're going to try and cover that here as best we can, as it is an important factor in all of this. There are several mistakes that need to be pointed out insofar as regards this practice and the understanding that we tend to have of it, generally speaking, and we're going to try and get through that in this video. As I was saying, this particular student, she's going to have probably an easier time with it as she's a Red to begin with. She's an empath, which makes her a hell of a lot more open and energized and empathic. She's going to be able to do this a hell of a lot more easier, and also you could say that this particular student has sort of a leg up on the competition. Sorry, I am not trying to be offensive. I'm seriously, I'm joking with you. And you want to remember as we begin this that sense of humor, that's going to be the most important sense you have. Your sense of humor is what governs your tolerance as a being, as a person, and you you are going to require a very high tolerance. This is going to be the endurance trial of your life. But please make note, madam, that that's an instance, what I'm speaking of. I'm not going to mention it unless you want to talk about it openly in one of your interviews, but I'm not going to mention it here just in case you won't want me to. But what I am speaking to, you will know, others will not, but it's an instance wherein something that's seemingly, something that's seemingly negative, something that's seemingly a downfall, turns out to actually be a benefit. It turns out to be a blessing in disguise. That's going to happen with just about everything that you think of as being a failure or a mistake. It's going to turn out to be a blessing in disguise. And once you activate this impulse and start making use of it, that synchronicity is going to pull you. Magnetic compatibility, you're going to start to drift, and you're going to notice everything works out that way. So, in times of doubt, when you're feeling down, when you're feeling negative, when you're feeling like things might be going wrong, try to keep that in mind. Try to look for the silver lining and figure out what's happening that's positive, how it might turn around, or how it might benefit you in some way, because the world is working with you. It has your back. As we go into this, I want you to observe and maintain protocol, though. Remember, do not cause harm unless you need to protect yourself or others. Do not tell lies unless it's essential to protect yourself from harm. Do not cause divisions unless it's necessary to protect yourself or others from harm or from fraudulence. Observe that protocol. Don't break protocol, and you will be protected, guided, and taken care of by the world always. And even in your darkest hours, remember what I said. There's always, it's always a blessing in disguise. Almost always. Maybe sometimes you might get fucked, but it's going to be a rarity, trust me. And you're with us now, you're with the initiative, you're an operative. You're going to be taken care of, I promise. So anyways, let's make an example here of some of the instances that are requisite to this particular program. What we are working with here, of course, are the 7 primary chakras for the most part. We do want to take a non-woo-woo, as the atheist might say, approach to this and make it as simple as is possible. So, if you can take these images off of here, you might get some insight. Of course, we'll help you along throughout the course, but there are things to look out for. There are states of being that relate to these chakras and the opening up and activating of them. There's going to be materials, compounds and such, stones and whatnot that relate to the opening of these chakras that can be helpful or beneficial. There's going to be what the elder traditions thought of as being elementals that apply to it. There's going to be general considerations that apply to the opening and the activation of these chakras, these engines as I like to think of them, and there's going to be things to look out for, setbacks that you'll have. Now, I've gone ahead and I've made a diagram here, trying as best I can to get to recreating my old formula from my thesis. And it's a crappy, but it's the best I can do on the spot. I got to make use of the mandala notepad. I'm very happy to have that to make use of it, but what you're going to see here is the missing pieces in the essential overall understanding that we have as a community. Now, at the base, the initial chakra is actually 3. And then we have chakras at the extremities, the hands and feet. So ultimately, overall, we have 13 chakras, and we do have 13 layers, beginning at the crown and coming out, or beginning at the extremities and going in, rather. And then also the geometric center. Again, we're going to have 2. There's a duality to this, and this is where the 2 break. This is where we have a polarity or polarization between what will essentially be 2 impulses, the Ida and Pingala impulses that will wrap up the spine and become the Kundalini or the serpent fire. Also, we do have 6 chakras that we know of here over the shoulders, 3 over each shoulder. I am not sure why or how to. I think maybe I might have learned how to kind of make use of those through DreamWorks and projection. They seem almost like we're supposed to have wings or something. That's what it looks like. I was given that relatively recently, a few years ago. I found this, and I did, in fact, feel it and begin to make use of it in DreamWorks. I have no idea what their functionality could be or what their meaning or representation would be, but they are there, so there's that. Something to investigate, I guess. Anyways, we do have all of these presentations regarding the chakras, how they work, what they mean, the colors of them, the stones that are associated to them, all of that stuff. And that's common knowledge. Really, you can get that on the internet. But what's missing from this is going to be habits and addictions that are attached to these chakras that you're going to essentially kind of accumulate over time, and that you can run into. Their kind of pitfalls. It depends. There are vices and virtues. We have 7 deadly sins, as we know of in the religious community, but they're actually vices and virtues that are habits attached to these chakras that will maneuver them one way or the other. And as I've stated in my vices and virtues video, which I guess I'll have to remake for this course, but as I have stated before, you do want a balance between them. You don't want to lean too far one way or the other. It is not necessarily good to lean too far toward the positive, nor is it necessarily bad to lean too far towards the negative. In a manner of speaking, it's best to maintain a balance between the two, and we'll get to that throughout the videos. We'll speak to each chakra individually, and we'll give the practices and whatnot to open each one of them up. But this is a kind of a tutorial video, I guess, just explaining it for the most part. We'll get your feedback on what you think of it, Tammy, and what you find in your own research in your first interview for the course. But what's missing is going to be those habits and addictions, and then also what's missing from a general understanding, our overall schematic, is these layers, what I've labeled as being filters, and these are filters in the psyche. Each one has a presentation of its own, beginning with known at the crown. That's what I labeled it, known. And then at the outer edge, see how they're concentric for the most part, or kind of concentric, coming out in what amounts to like kind of a spiral pattern coming out from the crown. But then at the very edge, that last one, the crown, and the crown and the extremities, that one is actually separated from the rest, and there's a reason for that. That's going to be the layer that's associated to your experience, what you actually experience and what you observe, and that's a general consideration regarding what you actually have a hands-on feel for, what happens to you. Where at the other extremity, at the very base of that third eye, for the most part, there's what is known. And what is known is what is creating reality. We see things as being what we experience is what is known, but that's us viewing, comprehending time in reverse, comprehending things backwards. The reality of the situation is that what is known is what you experience, and we're going to teach you how to flip that switch, turn that around here. So, that, I think, is about it for this video, because I just wanted to give a brief introduction. I wanted to try and do it as cool as I could. So, we'll wrap this up for now, and we'll get your feedback a little later on. Tammy, everybody else, please give your feedback if you have anything to say about it, any thoughts to add. This is, in fact, an open investigation. We're all working together on this. This is a training tutorial course, but anything you have to add, any insights you have, we're building a machine here, and this is the essential properties of the machine we're building, because it deals with the body. Something that we need to kind of figure here, put into play, a factor, a value that we need to put into play here, is that when people speak to this, they talk about like using visualizations and such, and they talk about visualizing light and energy in your body. We're not going to do that, because that's bullshit. Okay, that's kind of amateur hour. That's people trying to pretend their way through it. We don't need to do that. We actually have a feel for it, because the reality of it is that it is physical. It's all physical. It's all material. It's all real. These chakras are the clusters in the nervous system that attach to the major organs and to the glandular system. They are not some mystical vortexes that exist in another dimension. Again, the term dimension doesn't even apply there. That's not correct. There is no other dimension wherein these things exist. They exist right here. They are actual physical objects that can be interacted with directly, and you can get a feel for it. You particularly, Tammy, you're going to have as I said, you're going to have a leg up on this. You're going to be able to get a grasp on it, a feel for it quickly and easily, which is that's a fantastic opportunity, challenge, and just a boost. That's just an amazing benefit for all of this. You fit for this so perfectly. It's really amazing to me. And if you're not noticing how astounding and outrageously miraculous this whole scenario is, then I'm gonna really need for you to go ahead and try to, because this is just perfect. So yeah, we're gonna get a feel for it. These chakras are actual objects in our actual rock solid immediate reality. There's no reason to fictionalize these anymore. We have a handle on the reality of it. There's no reason to visualize any special lights or think of any mystical, other dimensions and what have you, is spirit realms. Your spirit is your emotional properties present inherent in the physical body. Everything is material. Everything is applied by physics or through physics. Physical properties are inherent in everything that has a body. We can explain this scientifically. We do not need to make any distinction between spirituality and science anymore. They are the same, and we're going to unite them right here and now through this particular course. So thank you all for watching. Keelah, Taerve, siari, Namaste.